All right, let's get into it. Today, we're tackling a huge question for anyone dreaming of the Himalayas. When is the absolute best time to trek to Everest Base Camp? And here's a spoiler, the answer isn't just 1 month. It's about finding the season that perfectly matches the adventure you're dreaming of.
And you can totally see why, right? I mean, this is more than just a hike. For so many people, it's a pilgrimage, a personal challenge. Really, it's a lifelong dream. The journey to the base of Sagarmatha, as it's known in Nepal, is just as legendary as the mountain itself. But the story you come home with, that really depends on when you decide to go.
So let's start right there. Close your eyes and picture it. What does your perfect trek look like? Are you walking through trails just bursting with color? Or maybe you're picturing yourself completely alone with your thoughts, surrounded by a vast, silent landscape. Or are the mountains so sharp against a brilliant blue sky that they look like they were carved from glass?
Whatever you just imagined, that's the key. So in this explainer, we're going to break down the 4 completely distinct seasons you'll find in the Everest region. The goal? To help you pinpoint your perfect time to make that dream a reality. Okay, let's dive in.
First up, we've got to talk about the 2 most popular seasons. And, they're popular for a very good reason. If you want the absolute best odds for great weather and just mind-blowing scenery, you're probably looking at either spring or autumn. If you're someone who thrives on energy and loves a vibrant atmosphere, you're going to want to listen closely.
Spring, which runs from about March to May, is just an incredible time to be out there. You can feel the world coming back to life. The lower parts of the trail are literally painted with blooming rhododendrons. The weather's usually pretty stable, and you get this unique electric buzz at base camp. You're sharing the trail with actual climbing teams getting ready for their summit pushes. That energy is something you can't find any other time of year.
Now, the flip side of all that energy, of course, is that you definitely won't be alone. Spring is by far the busiest season, and that means you absolutely have to book your flights to Lukla and your spot in the local lodges or tea houses way in advance. It's an amazing social experience for sure, but it's not a solitary one.
Okay, let's shift gears to autumn. This season offers a totally different kind of perfection. From September to November, the monsoon rains have literally washed the sky clean. The air is so crisp and clear. Honestly, it's a photographer's dream come true. The trails are still super lush from the rain, plus you might get to experience huge Nepali festivals like Dashain and Tihar, which is an amazing cultural bonus.
And that clarity is what makes autumn so special. It arguably has the absolute best panoramic mountain views of the entire year. But while the days feel great, the nights get seriously cold. We're talking down to -15°C, sometimes even colder. And just like spring, it's popular. October in particular can get pretty busy on the trail. So if the thought of crowded trails is making you think twice, don't worry. The off-seasons might be exactly what you're looking for. These treks are for the more adventurous, the contemplative explorer who's looking for solitude and a completely different kind of Everest experience. Now, trekking during the monsoon from June to August, look, it's not for everybody, but for a certain type of person, its appeal is just undeniable. The trails are almost empty, you get this profound sense of solitude, and the landscape is intensely, unbelievably green and alive, a side of the Himalayas most people never ever see. But you have to be honest about the challenges, because they're very real. The trails can be slick and dangerous, and there is a risk of landslides. You'll have to deal with leeches down low, and maybe the biggest trade-off of all, those incredible mountain views are often hidden by clouds. You're basically trading the peaks for peace. And then there's winter. From December to February, the entire region just transforms into this quiet, snow-covered wonderland. The trails are at their absolute most tranquil. The air is often so clear, you get these stunning, starkly beautiful views of the peaks against these impossibly deep blue skies. It's really a time for quiet reflection.
But that tranquility comes at a pretty steep price, the cold. And I mean, it is extreme. Nighttime temperatures at base camp can plummet to -20°C or even colder. Not all the tea houses will even be open, and you absolutely must have specialized high-quality winter gear to do this trek safely. It's no joke.
Okay, so we've talked about the personality and the feel of each season. Now let's get down to the nitty-gritty and look at some hard data. It really helps to see exactly what these differences look like on a chart. This table is awesome for a quick month-by-month look. You can see the extremes immediately. Just look at January. Nighttime temps hitting -25 or lower. Now compare that to July, where it can be a pretty pleasant 20 degrees during the day. And then you see April and October right there in the sweet spot, with milder temps, but, still pretty chilly at night. And this chart just makes it crystal clear. It really puts those daytime temperature swings into perspective. Look at that massive gap between the deep freeze of winter, averaging -11 Celsius, and the surprisingly mild feel of the monsoon season at +10. Spring and autumn, they're your just right zone, sitting there right in the middle. Honestly, this visual alone tells you almost everything you need to know about what kind of gear you'll need to pack. Okay, before we wrap this up, let's do a quick fire round and answer some of the most common questions people ask when they're planning this trip of a lifetime.
This one is huge. I get it. For a lot of people, the experience is just as much about finding that quiet and solitude as it is about the jaw-dropping scenery. So if dodging the crowds is your #1 priority, when should you go?
Well, you've got 3 fantastic options here. Winter is, without a doubt, the undisputed king of quiet. But if you want a great balance of good weather and fewer people, you should aim for what we call the shoulder seasons. That means either late November, when the autumn crowds are heading home, or early March, right before the big spring rush really kicks in. Another absolutely crucial question, because showing up with the wrong gear can be uncomfortable at best and flat out dangerous at worst. So how does your packing list change depending on the season? Okay, the key takeaway here is pretty simple. For spring and autumn, it is all about layering. For winter, you have to think heavy-duty insulation. I'm talking a winter-grade sleeping bag, proper insulated boots, the whole shebang. And for the monsoon, your absolute non-negotiables are head-to-toe waterproofs and a good set of trekking poles for those slippery, muddy trails. At the end of the day, there's no single best time to go. There is only the best time for you. So what's your story going to be? Is it a story of vibrant spring flowers and bustling tea houses full of excited climbers? Or crisp autumn air and colorful festivals? Or will it be a quiet, personal tale of reflection on a snow-dusted trail? The path to Everest is waiting. All you have to do now is choose when your journey begins.